Plans to dump low-level radioactive waste at a facility near King's Cliffe in Northamptonshire are being challenged at London's High Court.
Louise Bowen West has lived in King's Cliffe for 16 years and together with other residents, she's trying to overturn the planning permission granted by the government. Elodie Harper has more on that.
Leaving King's Cliffe for London early this morning. Local villagers supporting the case brought by their neighbour Louise Bowen West against the nuclear waste facility planned on their doorstep. In May, permission was given for low-level nuclear waste to be stored at this landfill site a few miles from the village until 2013. Launching a legal challenge against the government is expensive, and so campaigners are appealing the decision in the cheapest manner possible, on the point of law. But their real concern is about the site's safety.
To be honest, it's not even suitable for hazardous waste, much less nuclear waste, which is going to be there for hundreds of years, long after the liner has decayed, and it will seep into the groundwater, which people use to drink, water their crops.
The local people who arrived at court today argue that a concrete bunker would be safer than a landfill site. Concerns the site's manager rejects.
Dealing with really building rubble and contaminated soils with low levels of radiation, and in context levels of radiation that are actually about 1% of naturally occurring radiation. So we recognise the sensitivity of that, but we've gone through an entire judicial process, and today's challenge is really all about a very narrow point of planning law.
Is this just a case of not my backyard? Often nuclear waste has to go somewhere.
Well, that's an interesting question because, of course, it is somewhere already. It's in the places where it was produced and where the local people made a profit from it. And we don't see why it should be taken right the way across the country and dumped somewhere in the middle of nowhere where there aren't the proper facilities for it.
The strength of feeling in King's Cliffe was evident today from the number of protesters who turned up at the High Court. In fact, there were so many of them that they couldn't all fit into the courtroom at this morning's hearing. And whatever the judgment given tomorrow, they've said that they will keep on fighting and keep on appealing. Elodie Harper, Anglia News, London.